Let me make sure my mic is all good. Mic check. We are good. Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another show. We got UTSA versus East Carolina this week. This is going to be a pretty big game in the Alamo Dome on Saturday, 2:30. Really excited about this one. UTSA needs to win. They have to win one of these last two games. There's a lot to unpack, right? I think the Jekyll and Hyde sort of storyline of UTSA win loss. Looked super impressive against Tulane. Didn't look great against your North Texas and didn't really especially look great last week against Charlotte, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, this is going to be a tricky game. I was doing some prep for ECU today, and they are a balanced team. They have one of the top offenses in the nation. They have one of the top defenses in the nation. They're coming off an incredible win against who they just beat. They just beat the big team. Yeah, Memphis. Coming off an incredible win against Memphis. They are still competing for a banner. They're competing to win the conference, and this is going to be an opportunity for them to continue to make that case and continue to push forward. They're one of the top teams in the country, in the conference, and they smell blood. I mean, they got UTSA, who hasn't been especially great this week, and then they got FAU after this, so they're looking to finish. They have pressure on them if they want to give themselves a chance at the championship. They have an opportunity to win both of these games and be right there in the fight, man. They're 5-1. Or I'm sorry, not 5-1. They are 5-1 in conference play, which is tied with a couple of other teams. Tulane and North Texas are also 5-1. Navy is 6-1. So yeah, interesting times, man. They have a lot to play for. UTSA has have a lot to play for too. Coach Traylor wants that bowl game. He wants an opportunity. I think it'd be great for him to salvage this disappointing season, finishing 7-5. But it's going to be tough. I think the good thing about this game is that UTSA is playing at home, and that's going to be really important because UTSA's home form has been great. Or it's been really good, but away they've been terrible. So there are no more away games unless we have a bowl game that'll be on a neutral site. But UTSA is in a really, really difficult situation right now, and they have two teams that are going to be tough. But yeah, getting back to ECU a little bit. I mean, they're good everywhere pretty much. They don't make a ton of mistakes. They find a way to win games, even against teams that they probably shouldn't beat. They've done that kind of like one time, but against Memphis, but they found a way to win a game, man. I think those things are important. They had a really big second half. They scored 21 points. They beat Memphis 21-10 in the second half after losing the first half 17-10. So they have some competitive fervor about them, and UTSA has their work cut out for them. They have a quarterback that's very capable of taking over a game. They have running back that's really good, that has been valuable for them. And one of the things that I was looking at in just thinking about like coming into this game really was the contrast between East Carolina and UTSA and what that's been, right? UTSA has had some success against them in recent years. If you go back to some of their previous matchups, and one of the things that really stood out to me is like, they kind of flew under the radar last year, in my opinion, but they had they finished the season quite well. Now, I mean, to be fair, they did beat us last year, but we had some better results. I remember that quarterback they had was so bad last year. We shouldn't have lost that game, by the way. But yeah, I mean, I look at what that team was last year, and I look at where they are this year, and I'm like, they took a step forward. And today, I don't know if you guys have seen my tweet, but I talked about what they've done over the past 3 years in terms of fundraising for their program. And I think you and I think you just get to see some of the fruits of those labors, considering that like UTSA appears to be a team or a program that is struggling to fundraise in a way that is, amongst the top of the program, or I'm sorry, not program, but on the top of the conference. And I think it's I think whenever they're able to invest all of these facilities, money toward players, all of these other big projects that they have. And don't get me wrong, that they've been around for a long time, so they have already an established baseline there. But like, yeah, they are doing well with their fundraising, and you can tell they're doing well because their AD is putting things out. And if you've seen how detailed he was in that report that I looked at, he gave everybody sort of not even necessarily a blueprint, but like he peeled the curtains back and said, "Hey, this is exactly how we did it." I thought that was pretty cool. They talked about having almost 2,600 individuals or businesses donate to them over that 3-year span, which I thought was significant. I'd be curious to see what that number is for UTSA. UTSA is in a way bigger city than where ECU is. And they have strength in numbers. Now, one of the things that UTSA is not going to have for sure is they're not going to have 16 different individuals or businesses donate more than $1 million, which is something that UTSA is just not going to have. But whenever you just talk about some of those other donation buckets that they had, it just didn't seem like it was rocket science. And they are certainly enjoying some of the they are certainly enjoying some of those fruits. And that investment is essentially paying off. They have an expectation at this point of the season. If you just think about where they are right now, they expect to finish this. They expect to beat UTSA. Let's be very clear about that. They expect to beat UTSA. They expect to beat FAU. Don't know if they will. I hope they don't beat UTSA, but I'm just telling you what they expect. And that'll be a 9-3 finish for them if everything goes the way they want it to. And for, whenever you look at some of the other teams and that they need to lose, in order, North Texas is probably not losing. They have a Temple game to end the year. They're going to run over Rice, of course. So that's going to be interesting for them. Is it Tulane? Or is it? I think Tulane is another team that Tulane has cake too. Yeah, Tulane has Temple away, which won't be easy, but you expect Tulane to win that game. So, yeah, they still have a lot to play for. It's going to be tricky figuring out what the rest of the season is going to look like. But, yeah, for UTSA, man, it's going to be a tall order and a tall task for them to get some of this stuff done. In terms of keys to victory or things that I want to see from UTSA, I think there's no way that we're going to be able to go into this game and our offense playing the way they've played over the last couple of weeks. It's weird, right? Like they did do some really good things. They did put up a lot of yards of offense, but they had some individual blunders that really set them back. So I want to be very clear about that on the offensive side of the ball. They were also playing Charlotte, the worst team in the conference. So that's something to consider as well. But they are going to have to be at their best against this East Carolina team. They're just going to have to be. That team's going to blitz them. They are going to put pressure on the receivers. They are going to stack the box to stop the running, our dynamic duo in the running game. And they're going to make Owen McCown beat us. That's exactly what they're going to try to do. Beat them. They're going to try to make Owen McCown beat them. And the question is, can he do it? That's the real big question. Can he do it? It's a hard question to answer, if I'm being honest, because I have no idea. Like UTSA won last week. Based on the way the season goes, they're probably gonna. You'd think that they lose this upcoming week because the season has been so black and it's win loss, win loss, win loss, right? So that's what that's what they're gonna force us to do on defense, or their offense is going to make our defense answer questions. We're going to have to cover down the field. They got receivers that can hurt us. They have running backs that can hurt us. They run block well. They do things. They're a polished team, man. They're a really good team. So UTSA is going to have to be at their best if they want to win that game. It's just no other way around that. They're going to have to be at their best if they want to win that game. That team is playing for something bigger. They have purpose. They're confident. Like I said, they expect to go in and beat UTSA. UTSA is going to have to answer the bell. They're going to have to show up. They're going to have to think about finishing this season well. Think about finishing this season in front of the home crowd, 2 games back to back. They're going to have the crowd behind them. There's no excuse for not showing up, though. I think that's the big thing. So UTSA hasn't shown up very well in some of these games this season, and it's been mind-boggling and it's been frustrating. The final 2 games at home, the last game is going to be senior night. You got to show up in these 2. One of the more common things that I've been seeing on Twitter and what people are sort of saying to me is a lot of people want to see, or just telling me, more people than like I would expect, is basically saying, hey, I wouldn't mind losing both of these games so that there are coaching changes made. And in particular, they're talking about the offensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator or both. So what I'll say to that is I don't ever want UTSA to lose any game. And I hope that we win both of these games. But I expect there to be changes. There's no way that there's not going to be changes at the end of the season. There's no way that it's not going to be. I think part of this whole thing is building a relationship with the fans, because the fans are going to be the ones that are going to donate money. And I do think Coach Traylor kind of put his foot in his mouth when he went after the fans. Although, like I said, you know how I feel about that. I liked his edge. I liked that he showed he had a chip on his shoulder, but just not the time to do that kind of thing, considering the position of where the program is. So it's these last 2 games are going to say a lot about where the program is headed. I think where the football program is headed specifically. And I think it's really, really, really important for UTSA to, I think you literally have to win one of them. You have to. You can't lose both of these games, because you're going to lose a lot of people if you do. I'll get to some of your questions now. Mike says, should be a good game. Too bad not many fans will be at the game. The team and coaches have underperformed this season. You can add the marketing department to that list. Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, I mean, listen. Yeah, I mean, you're correct. I think the team, yeah, I mean, the not showing up to, I mean, they literally, you could make a case that like we've shown up to half the games this season. Literally half the games. And that's kind of unacceptable. I mean, it's not even kind of, that's unacceptable. It can't happen. Not that frequent. Yeah, you'll have the odd game here or there where you don't show up, you don't have, you just don't have it that day, right? But there have been so many obvious, like the issues are obvious, right? I think that's the biggest thing, and that's some of the biggest issues with this is they're obvious. They're obvious. They're obvious problems. There's obvious issues. And that's why I'm confident that regardless of what happens in these last 2 games, I just can't see that the coordinators are retained in the same position. I just can't see that. At least from the offensive standpoint, I just can't see that happening. So that's yeah, I'm not gonna go. I don't want to go in too much on that, but yeah. And then the marketing department it's weird, bro, because it's funny how, I mean, this is just my thoughts and my experience, but in the very beginning of the season, there was a lot of what seemed like excitement and a lot of engagement and a lot of just everything. And then it dropped off and it got back to the same old stuff. Now, I don't know what the numbers are trending like and what or how things are trending with the insights they have. No idea. However, I've been doing this long enough to be able to get a sense of what the fan sentiment is. And look at how many people's in the chat today after a win. Like, you guys can use my show as sort of a barometer of what fan sentiment is. When UTSA is riding high, right? There's hundreds of people coming in here live. I remember those just a couple years ago. Hundreds of people when I first started doing this, consistently doing really, really crazy numbers. And when people are down on UTSA, they don't block out time for this anymore, you know? And that's just the reality of it, you know? And it's one of the reasons why I get so frustrated when people like troll me and say, "Oh, you love when UTSA does a bad job because you get more clicks." And I'm just like, that's literally false. That's literally not true. But my whole point is, like, back to the marketing department. I have like a subset of metrics that I like to use to understand where, because I create content. I mean, my content that I put here is the same. I'm going to give you game previews. I'm going to give you recaps, and then in the off season, I'm going to talk about the biggest stories, right? And I may adjust some of that, right, going forward. But in general, that's what I'm value. That's the value that I'm bringing to my audience. But there's other metrics too that you can see on Twitter and all these things in terms of engagements and all this. I have a dashboard that I've created myself to monitor all of this stuff, to monitor UTSA's engagement, how many, like, what's their reach. I monitor their reach. I monitor other UTSA platforms, just to get a full picture of, you know, how UTSA is doing in terms of attention and fan sentiment, and how much are people talking about UTSA. If y'all see my dashboard, it is in the red. It's been in the red for weeks. And if the insights that I'm getting that's like publicly available, if I can see that, they can definitely see that. And or their numbers are probably saying something similar. And I don't know I don't know what they need to do to fix it, but, like, I mean, UTSA winning could do a lot of that. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. Bob says, "Hope we win, but would not put any money on it. UNT might sneak in." Yeah, they might. I don't know. I don't know who wins it. I hope we do win, but it's gonna be a tough game, man. It's gonna be a tough game. Mike says, "I saw your post about ECU's NIL fundraising efforts. What are some of the takeaways UTSA can do to improve their fundraising?" So I want to be clear, Mike. It wasn't ECU's NIL fundraising. It was just overall fundraising for their athletic department. So not all of that money is going to NIL. So I just want to be very clear about that. They use some of that money to get started on some of the facility projects that they need to do, facility improvements, other things around their athletic program that needed some help. They didn't disclose exactly how much they allocated for NIL, but I don't think our athletic department is bringing in $82 million over 3 years. There's a reason they were celebrating that, and that was posted in February. That was one of the reports was posted in February, and I think another one was maybe a little after that I seen. But I mean, listen, to tell you the truth, I don't know. I just think getting in the community and being a real part of the community, I think, is something that UTSA seems to be missing. Um, and I say that because I also listen. I will go. I I can get crazy with metrics, because if you look, the data is always available. But anyway, the reason I say that, and I know we're talking about the Spurs and UTSA is completely different, right? Spurs, all the history, championships, Wemby's there, crazy. But you can look at the Spurs, right? And you can look at some of their insights as well, which I do. And like I said, just to get a feel for San Antonio's fandom, and you look at some of that, and like you compare it with UTSA, and they're not supposed to be the same, but that just gives me a snapshot of how insane the Spurs fandom is in San Antonio. And I'm like, UTSA doesn't even have a fraction of those people. And I'm like, how one of the things that I think about is like, how can UTSA start to like chip away at some of those folks? A lot of those folks are local. You guys are crazy about the Spurs, bro. Crazy about the Spurs. And the thing is, how can you get crazy about UTSA? It's also something that's interesting to me too, is like getting the city overall to embrace UTSA more than anything else. One of the interesting things about being here in Austin, you see burnt orange literally everywhere. And we're talking about the pinnacle of college football and collegiate sports with UT. And I know UTSA is not there, but the way that this, like when you come to when you're in Austin, the university is everywhere. You know, you feel like the whole city's the university almost. Even on the outskirts in the suburbs, right? Like I live in a suburb, just outside of Austin, and um, there's just burnt orange everywhere. And I think you can go into some parts of San Antonio, unless it's well, I mean, I was just out there. You go in some parts of San Antonio, and it's that you see burnt orange. You see burnt orange, and I'm like, yeah, you got to find a way to make a shift. You got to go find a way to capture those people, because there are passionate people out there about sport, but you got to find a way to convert them to UTSA fans slowly but surely. Cody says, I got to be honest, my enthusiasm is not there for these few games, but the truth is a bowl bid, albeit lower tier, would mean something. A potential 75 finish, as weird as that sounds, is possible. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I was alluding to earlier when I said, the energy is down around UTSA, right? The energy is down around UTSA. Um, no, it's hard to be enthusiastic about these last two games. The season has not been a fun watch. They can say whatever they want to in press conferences. They can say whatever they want to in tweets. They can do whatever they want to in their little, they send stuff through other people, burner accounts. They do all types of random stuff. But the fact of the matter is the product has not been great. Like being great every other game don't cut it. It just pisses people off even more, you know? And you've listen, we could have the same type of season. We could have the same record. But if the performances were better, I bet people will feel a little bit better about these last couple of games. Because 75 on the surface is not terrible. But the way like for example, last year 7-5, a lot of people were frustrated last year. I was too. But that 7-5 felt already that was okay. That was okay. Like we went on a run at the end of the season. Like that wasn't terrible. Like the way and the momentum we had, the way we like bounced back and things like that. I mean, I'm sorry, we were 6-6, but we ended up winning 7 games. But you get my point. Like the 7-6, or just the way we finished last season, felt like we did something. And this feels different. I mean, this is the first time, at least to me, under Traylor's tenure, that almost everybody or most people in the fan base does not want to see the offensive coordinator come back. And then half the fan base does not want to see the defensive coordinator come back. And people are not believing in the quarterback. They are not believing in some of the talent, and they're not believing in the go forward plan. And that is problematic. There's no other way to spin that. Who wins the conference? No idea. Probably Navy, which is crazy. But yeah, probably Navy, if I had to guess. Sam says, honest question, do we want them to become bowl eligible? No consistency. I feel a bowl berth would give them a false sense of accomplishment, as if they're headed in the right direction. They are not. Listen, I do want them to become bowl eligible. I would love for them to win these 2 games. And I would love for them to be 7-5. It is better for us to win games, period. There's a whole perception element that comes to this that's really important from a recruiting standpoint. It's also important. It's easier to donate to a 7-win team than a 5-win team. And you just never know who's going to feel generous at that particular point in time. The real question, or I think the real issue that you're really attacking, I believe, is the changes are needed. That changes are needed, and they need to be significant changes. You gotta hope that Coach Traylor understands that, and regardless of the record, he'll make those decisions. That's what you're paying him for, to make tough decisions. If we win 7 games and he doesn't make some of those decisions to better this team and to better position us, to better position us for the future, then we got to start having some other conversations. I believe he will, but if not, yeah, we got to have different conversations then. Joker 1 says, Darian, Ahmad Chapman has played 3 games this year. Do you think Traylor will play him this game or against Army? It's one more game to burn for a red shirt. Bowl game doesn't count. Probably Army. He's gonna play him in a game that he thinks we have the best chance to win. So yeah, that's what I think anyway. I think this game, because Army runs more than pass. They run more than they pass, but what have they done to UTSA? They find a way to pass very well against UTSA too. I don't know, but you could be right though. You could be right. It's Rap said, and to fire the O-line coach. I don't think that's happening, but yeah. I know what you mean. Marketing department definitely not showing up. Traylor handed out food on campus. Traylor hasn't handed out food on campus in a while. I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say about the marketing group. I know they're understaffed, they're under-resourced. They don't have – we put our money in other places. But, yeah, I don't know. I hate it for those folks. But, yeah, I mean, people don't feel like they're connected to it. It's funny that the marketing department is starting to get called out again in my chat. I think because some of those marketing folks have been a little bit more engaging with the fans and supporters this year. At least they started to earlier in the year. Folks now are just sending me DMs about how frustrated they are about marketing. So it's interesting that it's now coming back. But that's what I'm saying. Like, because of what things that come my way and things that don't come my way, I can get a good sentiment on how people feel about UTSA, and it's just down right now. People are deflated at what we saw this year. They're deflated at what's being said in press conferences. They're deflated at, you know, some of the things that are said that's not really in touch with reality. San Antonio, listen, like the UTSA folks, y'all folks come in here every weekend. It's an educated, and when I say educated, I don't mean in a literal sense of like everybody here has went to college or something like that. But what I'm basically saying is like everybody's here is watching with a smart eye. You can't pull the wool over this fan base. You can always do it to some people. Don't get me wrong. There's some people that's just completely blinded, but you get my point. We aren't dummies. So yeah, people are just not buying a lot of what's happening. It's Rab says we don't know if change is coming, which is probably why people want to lose out, because that'll pretty much eliminate any chance of the OC coming back. But the way Traylor is moving, I still would doubt that. You're not wrong to doubt that, and you're exactly right on why people want UTSA to lose, because they want to make sure that guy doesn't come back. I completely understand that. I understand that rationale, but I still just I can't get. I hate to lose so much that I can't fathom wanting to ever lose in anything. But I get the point though. Like I am just trusting that Traylor is the guy to make the tough decision when he has to make it. Like I said, somebody's got to be a fall guy for what's happened this season. Somebody. And it ain't gonna be Traylor. So I don't see how it's not the OC. I mean, honestly, it's probably this is what's probably gonna happen. If you want to know my real thought on this, I think he's gonna fire the DC and keep the OC. That's what I think. The way he's defended the offense this season, and the way he's defended the offensive players, I think he's been very partial, or he's just been critical. He's given the defense credit. Don't get me wrong, but he's been very, very harsh on them in in quite a few of his interviews when they've played bad. And some they deserve some of that, no doubt. But I just get the sense that I remember what I told y'all. Like you kind of got to the best whenever you're letting somebody go and you're in a leadership position, you need to signal that. I think he signaled that our DC is in trouble. And I don't know if he's signaling it. He's called out the offensive play calls a few times. More than a few times, actually, to be fair. But there's still a lot of defense of that side of the ball. And he's always like, oh, our quarterback played well whenever we're all shaking our head like, no, not this game. It makes you wonder, like, okay, well, I understand why he's defending McCown. I get that. That's his starting quarterback. That's the guy he hitched his wagon to. They have a great connection. Obviously, he's close with the family. Like you can understand him defending him even in times where some of the play was indefensible. The coordinator, which I'm sure he's close with too, he's not a player, so like he's not going to air them out totally, but I just feel like he has been a little easier on him than he has with his defensive coordinator. So my honest opinion is he's going to retain the offensive coordinator, and the defensive coordinator is going to be the fall guy. That's going to upset me. I'm going to tell you something right now. If that happens, you'll probably see me as explosive as I've ever been on one of these shows. Joker says, who do you see hitting the portal? If anyone that can come back does come back, we'll have about 11 returners on offense with starting experience and 7 on defense. Who will leave if OC and DC get let go? Well, if they get let go, you're going to see a mass exodus. Yeah, for sure. Who would leave? I think. Well, here's what I'll say. I think y'all know how I feel. I just don't think we're good enough from a talent perspective. But here's a couple of guys that I think that could potentially leave and go to better places and get more opportunity. One guy, I have no inside information on this. This is just me like speaking off pure sort of guess or just thought. I think one of the main guys I think that could probably use a change, not even a change, but I think he'd be somebody that could potentially go elsewhere and make some noise would be Devin McEwen. He's really good, but I think UTSA, I think in a different offense, he could probably take his game to a higher level. Um, and I think that if he had more threats around him, I think he could be. He's a good player. He's a good player. I think he could go somewhere bigger and play. So he's someone that I'm like, does he want to come back with this quarterback situation? I'm not even trying to be funny or anything like that, but like, would he want to would he try to test the waters? I know he got a big offer in the summer. I want to say, I mean, I don't know how true some of this stuff is, but I heard from someone very, very close to the situation that, I mean, I think he turned down, I mean, rumor, but it is from somebody that I've don't think will lie to me about it. But I heard that he turned down somewhere upwards of 300, 300 to 400K or 250 to 400K right before the portal closed, like the day before or something like that. And like, apparently they thought that he was gone. Like they thought he was gone. Like, and you know, he stuck. I think Traylor has talked about some of that, not like in detail in that way, but I think he's talked about that situation publicly. That they, you know, he was happy that McEwen stayed with him, but he's a guy that I think that would probably move on. He's a great player. And yeah, I also think I because he's a great player and he's still playing well. I will like he's one of the guys I think UTSA misprofiles. They're to me there are things that he's really good at, but I don't even think he gets to do them all because he has to do other things. They ask him to. I mean, any receiver just wants to get the ball, right? Like in general, no matter how you get him the ball. So he wouldn't complain. I mean, I don't know him like that, but or at all. I've never met him, but no receiver is probably going to complain at getting targets. But I just think there are ways they can get him the ball a little better than what they do, and especially if he had more bigger threats around him. So yeah, he's a guy. I don't think Will Henderson will go anywhere. That Gilmer connection, those guys are really good guys. I don't think they're flight risks. Him, Brandon Tennyson either. So these aren't flight risk type players, but I can guarantee you he's going to get some stupid money thrown his way. I guarantee it. And as loyal as some of these people is, money talk, bro. Somebody's gonna throw him some good money. They're gonna throw him some good money. So it's not that I think he's gonna leave or he would leave, but if UTSA ain't putting him on good money, like good money, and he's getting offered $500,000 or I mean, I think he's that good. I think he's that good of a prospect to where like you're gonna have some big schools looking at that kid and the speed he has and saying like, "Hey, yo, like, could you imagine if Texas Tech comes and knocks on that door? You couldn't blame him, would you? You wouldn't be able to blame him, would you? Because you know they're gonna back up the Brinks truck. He's a guy that I'm really worried about. Like I'm worried about losing him, but I just know people are gonna to to look, try to get him. Um, any other guys that stick out? Um, those are the two guys. There's a couple other guys, but I've been on that question for a while. Sam says it's definitely no consolation that we put up a decent game against the team that would become a serious national championship. Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, it's not actually. I mean, if we were that good, like the thing is if we proved that we were like a really good team in that way consistently, like you could take some consolation in that if UTSA had a good season, but season's been a joke. It's Rap says the marketing department never made a uni hype combo or hype video or anything. Unis are trash though. You would think that's an easy no brainer to do that. I agree. Well, the unis have grown on me. I definitely did not like them in the beginning. They're a little, yeah. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's just like y'all let me know in the comments what you think. I even feel like like UTSA football itself and even the content they put out is a bit subdued, don't you think? A bit somber. You know? Like nothing feels energetic at all. Nothing. Nobody, not even from the most energetic people. You're not even getting crazy energy from Ansira. She shows up to everything, which is dope. But like you're not even getting like she's always the biggest cheerleader, you know? And I mean maybe she's had a change in philosophy on her Twitter account, but yeah, it's just weird. It's a weird time. I mean, I could be totally misreading that, but like y'all let me know. If we get to 8 wins, definitely no changes because Traylor doesn't want players to hit the portal. But then who can we afford to keep? I mean, yeah, so 8 wins would be winning these 2 games and a bowl. That would be great, actually. But I don't know. I think Traylor's gonna want some of those guys to hit the portal. How can I say this without saying yeah, I can't comment. Listen, there are people. I'll just say this in general, like coaches are going to like they have to do coach talk, right? They have to say things publicly that people are going to hang on to every word about. Yes, there's going to be a lot of players he wants to keep, but trust me, there's a lot of players that staff would be happy to get away from. That happens every year. There's a couple of guys that they were ready to show the door to from previous. I mean, I can tell you one guy, Denver Harris. That's his name, right? Denver Harris, the corner we had. Oh, they were ready to get him out the door. They were ready to get him out the door. Ready to get him out the door. Yeah, like it's stuff like that happens though. It happens, but trust me, there's a lot of players that they're like, we missed with that one. Dude, Tulane lost 45-10 to Ole Miss. Get out of here with the national championship contender nonsense. Oh, this is at Sam. G5 in playoff is a consolation prize. Huge gap between Big Ten, SEC, and American. I mean, that's true. Spurs have multiple titles in tradition. UTSA would need to run a 5 or 6 consecutive years, 8+ win season to get serious traction. Yeah, like my point was to not compare UTSA and the Spurs. My point was to say was to get a snapshot of the fandom across San Antonio and how many people across San Antonio are a fan or sports fan to something that's local to them. So it's not, I can care less about what the Spurs have done to do that. I just want to see how many people in San Antonio are really, really diehard sports fans in some way, shape, or form. And that number is quite significant. But when you look at some of the insights and look at some of the insights and the subset of people who are like what I would say is diehard fans of UTSA, there's a huge contrast. And I'm looking at that as that's the San Antonio should, or UTSA should look at that as opportunity. There are people with the passion there. How do we get into their living rooms and get them to, or steer them in our direction to point toward that passion, or to point that passion toward, It's Rap says, I wish UTSA can change the blue to black to be more in line with San Antonio and the Spurs. I know we have to have Oregon. I see what you're saying because of the UT system. But Jesus Christ, this is killing me. But we need to, but Jesus Christ, I get what you're trying to say. Yeah, I like that too. Actually, I actually agree. Look, me and this rap is agreeing today. Okay, this is the Joker. If UTSA play Timmy, okay. I think you guys are in a discussion. So let me skip through this. Will Henderson's here. Shout out to Will Henderson. I was just talking about your son and some money. Mr. Henderson, if P4 puts 400K on your lap, it's Will staying. Chill out. Let's see what he says. He says, we will back Will Tomahawk Henderson the third on whatever decision he makes. Good answer. He's gone. Well, he would be gone. I would take it. I would tell him to take it. I'm not even trying to be funny. Trust me. That I hope UTSA can do everything I hope UTSA can do every single thing they want to keep this kid. But there's going to be some people that's going to back some money up. And I hope we are able to back some money up as well and keep them. But here's what I say. Here's one thing that we have to consider. 100%. With respect to this. We've seen plenty of players leave UTSA and it ain't so great. In fact, what situations have actually worked out? I'm not even trying to be funny. Like Trey Moore did okay, but like he's done okay, but like he's played for Texas. He's done some good things. He's not been nearly the standout. I think Zachary Franklin made a pretty big mistake, but he did bounce back and do some good things at Illinois once he found a home there. It just hadn't been great for guys. You look at Cam Alexander, who I think would have been he would have been a guy who probably would have been a draft pick if he would have stayed at UTSA. With the Oregon I think they offered him like 120 or 140 or something like that. Took that bread and left, and didn't pan out. A lot of guys have left and not ascended. So like that's a thing that folks have to be careful about as well. But yeah, I hate that I put him on a spot. I was saying this, forgetting that he comes in, and he's in the chat all the time. I did not. My bad, Mr. Henderson. I did not mean to put that pressure on you, brother. Shout out to the Hendersons, man. They're great. If let's go, half the defense with starting experience will hit the portal, and then we start from scratch again. There's some of the guys on that defense you probably don't want. You probably want them to hit that portal. I mean, listen, we got some good players on defense too, but yeah, I mean, anytime coaches leave, these coaches bring these players in. So like, new coaches are going to want to come in and work with their guys as well. So it's just part of the game. Young man playing in the league, if he puts on 15 pounds, then P4 cafeterias are legit. It's Rap said that's terrible if he fires the DC and not the OC. But you are right. Most interviews he blames the defense. Why even though the defense is full of new players and the offense had experience, or worse. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's like, look at me and It's Rap on the same page. This is we need to mark this date. But yeah, this is exactly what I'm saying. It's like the defense was expected to be bad, the offense was expected to be great, which is why there were high expectations coming into the season. But when you look at those interviews, you'd think the opposite, you know? Um, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with all of this. Winston says, I thought Devin and Owen are really close. Like they've been working out together since high school. Owen isn't going anywhere, so I don't think Devin is going anywhere. Money talks, though. Yeah, if that kid is getting, listen, I mean, you can say whatever anybody can say whatever they want. I think if that kid gets another $400,000 or $500,000 offer, assuming that he actually got that in the summertime, he'd be wise to take it. I'd say that. Yeah. If OC stays, there's no way McEwen's turns that down again. Man can play in the league with the right amount of touches. Cephas, Franklin, Kellogg didn't get drafted with their numbers. He got to go. Yeah, I mean, the league is a crapshoot. I'm not necessarily like guaranteeing that he'll be in the league. I don't even know if I'm putting I don't know if I'm putting him over Cephas Franklin or any of that type of thing, but he's very, very talented. And I think in the right situation, he can be better than he could ascend. So yeah, we'll see. 45 receptions. This is McEwen's numbers. Yeah. I mean, he's been a little injured as well, so I'm sure that has something to do with it. But he could be 1,000-yard receiver somewhere, I think. It kind of sounds like I'm trying to kick these players out the door. I don't want these guys that I'm talking about. I don't want them to leave. These are not the guys where I'm like, oh, they should probably leave and go elsewhere. They're not good enough. No, these are the guys that I'm like, please don't go. I think the McEwen one's a little bit more understandable, if I'm being honest. Because not that I think his talent is being wasted. I just think he can be utilized differently and more. Yeah, Amador deserves better. His physical talent aside, I feel like a takeaway from this season has revealed that he's a high IQ player in terms of finding opportunities in extremely high stress situations. Well, look at the profile of our receivers. Him and McEwen do a lot of like they are, but like, so here's the thing with Amador. They actually use Amador the way he should be used based on his skill set. I think McEwen, because they see him as a lot more dynamic. He can play inside and outside. He appears to be able to run the entire route tree. They are asking him to do things. I think that he, you should probably have a bigger receiver doing. But I actually think, if I'm being honest, a lot of the looks that Amador gets, I think you should get, and they do. To be fair, like they don't totally misuse McEwen. That's not at all true. So like I'm not trying to necessarily insinuate that. I just think that he could be a bigger, if they utilized him a little bit more directly and put him in some more favorable situations. I just think you could get a lot from that kid. I really do. I respect this game a lot, if I'm honest. And Sirius shifted her focus to props A and B. That's interesting. Somebody got to give me the rundown on that. I'm seeing that all over my timeline. I have not dug deep into figuring out what that is. I know it's something San Antonio specific, but yeah. The marketing department is reasonable for creating and generating excitement even when it's not there. We have a very reactive and not proactive approach to how the program is being. Absolutely. That one is yeah, that's absolutely what's happening. It's tough. They have a very tough job, but yeah, I'm gonna spare them some of my thoughts because I don't know if it's helpful. I don't understand how we don't really try to think outside the box to grow our fan base and generate dollars. Rice this week is running a promo for students, which is wild. I mean, I don't know what they can and what they can't do, but this is one of the things that I asked Campos when she was on here, not directly about marketing, but one of my questions, which she completely, this is one of the answers, which to be fair, I know there's a lot of Campos lovers. I thought that she answered a lot of my questions honestly, but she did BS me on a few questions. One of the things she BS'd me on at least I think I took it as BS, is she said like I was basically asking like why were y'all so slow to adopt the NIL stuff and to like embrace NIL and all that type of stuff. And her response was like, well, we were the first school that like published our NIL plan in the American. Okay. Like that's what I mean by sometimes challenging, you feel like your intelligence is being challenged. I'm like, yeah, that's just crap. Um that's a crap thing to anchor on. You can tell that's like a rehearsed thing or something that they do. But like, yeah, we are slow to everything. Um, yeah. So I don't know what that problem is. I don't know. Maybe we're in a position where we can't be proactive. And that's probably what's happening. It's Rab is drunk. No, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I hope not. Why is it so hard to admit the problem with support is the school up the road? Why is it considered sacrilegious to say San Antonio is full of UT t-shirt fans? No affiliation whatsoever. It's probably the truth. Probably the truth. So, I mean, it's kind of what I was alluding to before. I was saying like you see burnt orange in Austin and in all the suburbs around Austin. And when I go to San Antonio, I see, well, there's one side of San Antonio where the UTSA flags are, and the rest of San Antonio is UT flags. So you see burnt orange up there too. Franklin should have got drafted. Traylor probably blackballed him. Barnes is doing pretty good at TCU. Moore is playing inside, now not on the edge. Robinson has been sidelined all year. Yeah, Barnes was doing good at TCU. Has he like got back? He started off really well, but I don't know if he's still let me see what his stats is. 97 carries, 443 yards, 3 touchdowns. Okay. He's doing all right. He's definitely missed some time with injury. Oh wow, he got 15 carries in the last game. Okay. Good for him. Oh, he worked Baylor over, didn't he? 25, a buck 6, buck 06, and 2 touchdowns. Good for him. He's doing all right though. Darian and it's Rabbit grievance. Someone must have hacked his account. That's hilarious. Yeah, yeah. We don't see eye to eye most of the time, but he's on one today. Darian, fair to say. Well, that's how you know UTSA is in a bad position, right? If me and its Rab is on the same page, like that's how you know things aren't going great. Fair to say that this is Traylor's most important game if it's UTSA. I don't think so. I don't think so. Traylor can lose both of these games and he's going to be fine. I think he's already, unless he makes some big changes in the offseason, there are some people who somebody said it here earlier, they've lost interest. I think some of the games that have already happened, we just kind of had a slow death at this particular point in time this season. So I don't think I don't know. 6-6 or potential 7-5 will be hard to sell to donors. Will be hard to sell to donors and get his much needed NIL to keep McKeown and Henderson and some of the others. Yeah, I mean 5 and 7 would be harder. So yeah, I mean, yeah, not a great situation regardless. Like it's not. Lisa was slow embracing NIL because she took all the money for herself, $500K with automatic 25K per year increase until 2031. Yeah, I mean, she definitely she's moving up with inflation, right? I mean, look, I don't know. I'm not gonna get in these people's pockets. What I did hear, you know what? I'm not gonna be messy. That's not a good rumor to spread. So no comment. I will not comment on her pay. And someone, yeah, I'll just keep my mouth shut. Winston Wolf. Ultimately, it doesn't matter how much, or does it matter much who leaves because Owen isn't going anywhere. The question is, will Owen ever take a step forward and be more consistent? If OC changed, though, we can turn the corner. Yeah, I don't think so. I think we've seen that because you would have seen a progression this season. You didn't see that. So he is who he is. And that's just what it is. And according to Traylor, he's okay with that. So we're going to have to live with it. I'm ahead of the game on UTSA problems. On what UTSA's problems been. Y'all just catching up to me in the chat. I'm months ahead. Oh, shout out to Interab, man. He keeps the chat interesting. What's funny is everybody who talks to me in person, it's Rab is as popular on here as I am. What's funny is everybody that I talk, or not everybody, but a lot of people that I talk to in person who watches the show, they always mention it's Rab. Always. It's hilarious. Darian, all the CBs should be coming back. You had to pick 2 starters for 2026. Who would it be? That's not a good question to ask me, because I would pick people who probably aren't playing right now. Maybe not in the program yet. Yeah, it's just not a great. Yeah. I will. Yeah, I don't want to be mean. Late to the chat. Do not forget to like and subscribe. And it's Rab leaves a smiling face out of here. Yeah, I'm gonna ride out with that one. Appreciate you guys for being here. I know it's tough. UTSA this weekend. I'm hoping we get a victory. But yeah, we'll see. I will be doing a post game show after the game, so make sure you guys tune in for that. And yeah, I'll see y'all in a few days. Peace.